Good morning. All right, so we're starting off the week with a little selling going on here, and more coronavirus worries. But really nothing to worry about because tomorrow they'll say that it's contained and the market will go back up. There'll be those buyers on the dip, and I guess we'll just wait for the surprise when it doesn't happen, as they continue to do that. But anyway, we just mark off support, resistance, see what the reactions are. And so the last couple of days at the end of the last week, markets, just looking at the spiders here, they spent several days just doing nothing. So, they're just chopping around here. And one of the items that I wrote about in the weekend letter was, well, that's all well and good. It wasn't an uptrend. We got this wild whippy action here and recovered from it. And those several days of going sideways, had this base. So had we gapped up, that would have been a great positive and, go long since you're at uptrend, right? Uptrend weekly, uptrend to sideways on hourly and breaking out or gapping above, go with it as long as we get a confirming bullish pattern in the time frame you're looking at, whatever it is you're looking at, 5 minute, 60 minute, 15, whatever. But now we're 336.50. We're kind of like right on the edge right there. And it was a little bit lower. What is this bar right here? Around 335. So haven't really broken down in a big way, but it's a good start to breaking lower. And so we'll just see whether it can regain, right? It's because it's got a void above because of the gap, but we'll get a clearer picture when we look at the futures. This chopping around into the prior day's lower area there, and where it's stalled is suggestive that it'll go down, and it's got some room to drop, not a huge amount of drop, 335-ish, down here. So, but the big thing, I guess, that we'll be interested in at the end of the day is what the day looks like. Right. So initially 3 bars going sideways, a gap down. If we close weak and you got a red bar closing down near the lows, well, that clearly opens up the door to thinking pullback. Whereas if at the end of the day we're looking at another bottoming tail bar that closes up here, well, it's just another jiggle based on morning gap because of the coronavirus, and buyers stepped up on the dip again. So we'll just have to see. And initially, we're starting with the potential for a bearish day, and we'll see how it unfolds in the first 5 to 25 minutes or so. Qs have been showing excellent relative strength. They are a bit extended, touched on that in the letter. One of the measurements, simple measurements, is just to say, how far is it from its 50-day moving average? Historically, 6.5%, you start getting some type of correction. It was about 7.75% above, so kind of even pushing a little further. And so that lines up with the potential for this being a top. But again, this was going sideways. And as we like to say, what's extended can become more extended. And well, as always, we're just going to see how the day ends, even though it's starting out a bit bearish. We'll just see how far it goes. One of the other things that caught my eye, and it's early. It's not the end of the month yet. We still got a couple of weeks or so, but we're getting a wide range bar on the monthly. Now, we'll see where this, of course, ends at the end of the month, like any time period. Saying the daily, what is it going to look like? We don't know what it's going to look like by the end of the day, and I don't know what this monthly bar is going to look like at the end of the month. But I can see that the range is expanding. Maybe it expands more by the end of the month. And wide range bars after multiple bars up suggest that the momentum is going to stall. And so that's something you can keep an eye on to the end of the month. Right now, was down at 332.50. So wasn't really clearing. It was down at the bottom there. But again, buyers begin to step up. It's rallying up into resistance, and now it's, hey, sellers, here's your second chance to get out before the end of the world, right into where the supply is. And we'll just see where it goes. And let's take a look at the diamonds here. We got a little time. So they were showing some relative weakness, and then it dipped down. We got the bottoming tail bar on Monday, rather than those equal bodies overlapping each other. So a bit of a pullback there, and doesn't trade quite as much. Let's just call it 293.25. So kind of right on the next support. And that's where we see everything is at here. So it might be a little tricky there at the open. We'll see if buyers want to try and push it up a bit more, or they're going to get stuck. It's going to roll over here at that resistance. Transports had a bad day on Friday. Starting to break down, and just within this sideways sloppy range. That's the monthly. Let's go back to the weekly. But it had that breakout which failed, and then it broke down, and then it recovered, and we've got this trading within these two reference points there. It's another pattern that says stay the heck away. Indecision. I don't know which way we're going to go yet, so we won't bother with that. And so big red bar, and now the gap down. It's got this mess to the left. It's just a terrible pattern overall. We'll just go for better looking things than mess with this kind of stuff. Anyway, let's look at the futures. And you can see that doesn't look right. How could they have been a bit higher if they gapped down? There's some trading at the end of the day I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so they started lower and they kept going lower. And here they are, after slightly breaking this low. And notice how the buyers stepped up initially in the area of that low, then it failed. And it failed to go down, right? And it's recovering already. So a pattern like this is one in which would have suggested this failure here should have suggested a move back down to this low, a measured type of a move, with the gap, and it goes, tries to make it, and so on to the next support. And it's immediately recovering what red bars ignored, and resistance right there tells me stay away. I don't know. Right? Stay away from it. If it can't get through here, say by 10 o'clock, then I would say it's going down. But right now it's building in an area of support. It's got this white above. It's messy here, folks. It's messy. So I don't think it's going to be easy here at the open. Tails on both sides with the body here. See, this is why you need to be watching the NQs and the ES when you're trading these, or even just for market timing, is that we're just looking at the ES and it hadn't gotten down to that level. But you see here, this did get down, not all the way to the bottoming tail, but much closer. So you have to be aware, because one market, buyers start showing up there, it influences the other market. And it's just, worth your time to keep an eye on both. So now as this retraces, there's little to stop it other than to, at some point, sellers just say, you know what, at the open here, I'm not so sure. Let's just sell it. And then we'll just see what bars for. As it next 20 minutes or so. YM. Still the weaker, just hanging around down there. Where's the next reference point? So this isn't pushing back up into this little stall there. It's not getting to the top, but here's your next reference point over there to the left. And we'll see if it holds or not. And so ideally, to think long here, I would prefer at least a half hour or so, 20 minutes of chopping around down here to think long. Because, this is a pretty nasty drop. It isn't at support. So if it can build up a base there, and I see the others doing it and they're actually leading, right? They're doing it already. So kind of misalignment. So if this maybe was to come down and do a retest, while YM just jiggled around back and forth, right? It didn't go up, shows a little strength by not dropping when the Qs drop. That might line up a trade. We'll see. Russell making a little rounding bottom here, but it's not going up like the NASDAQ is, right? That's been showing the relative strength. The daily is a mess. Our weekly, breakout, breakdown, deep retracement. There's a lot of uncertainty here. That's what these patterns are suggesting. And wide, whippy price action, right? Be nimble, right? Be nimble, or just find things that are on their own page. But, if the market starts to go into a little bit of a steeper correction rather than this whippy kind of stuff that it's recovering from, even some of those stronger stocks could have a harder time. Oil still trying to stabilize down a little bit here. And, we covered last week, top of the range, bottom of the range. We discussed the dollar being up at resistance. If it should begin to, well, it's stalled, but it's not turning lower. And so without that happening, right, the energy sector, and look at the euro, just keeps, continued weakness here. There's been no turn. So a couple of weeks ago, my thinking was, because of the inverse relationship, maybe the dollar would show some weakness, and then it's checking on the euro, which should go up. Maybe some of these energy stocks would try to move higher, and they've just been sloppy. So we'll see. We keep an eye on these themes, just set alerts and let the computer watch them. Bonds, continued sloppiness, little up here move as the market goes down, then that inverse relationship again. So you can see as the bonds are coming down here, at least the NASDAQ 100, the NQ futures are showing a little strength, and the others are just not dropping. So that's giving a little underneath strength in the markets here. We'll see how long it lasts. And trading range, gold is holding up after the run, just slopping back and forth here. And we'll see if it gets out of this range. Some buyers coming in here pre-market. Silver, right, been the laggard, but some money moving into there, but resistance is directly overhead. Maybe it gets to the top of the range there. And SPX. Let's just put SPY here. Well, clearly up above here should be safe if there's any premium up above that high, right? Since it's gapping down. And as far as the lows, support till 33.52. I would not count on that holding. No, not at all. Nor 40. Tell you the truth, it all depends on how things get going in the first half hour. But just look, think about it like this. You've got sideways price action here and sideways price action here. You get a gap down, but sideways price action and uptrend supports a bias that it's going to go up, right? Multiple timeframes going up if it can break out. It didn't do that. It's gapping down. Now, if some selling follows through, and I'm thinking to myself, where do I want to buy? That should be high odds. It's going to be down here at 33.20. 33.40, that would be bullish if it could hold there, because in essence, you've got a couple of bars, whereas you've got a correction here to the downside, a wide range bar up, and a correction sideways at the top of the wide range bar. So if this whole pattern up here is failing, you've got a whole bunch of traders, institutions that thought, hey, this bull market will continue, and now it's not, and they're holding losses. So they have to make a decision as to, do I just hold, add here? Do I get the hell out of the way, re-enter here? Or do I think because of this happening, I don't even want it here? We don't know. So it's not like it's gapping down, a big amount. It's not. And you see a bit of the recovery here. So I would say 33.20. So as far as selling the put side of that spread, let's see if it'll actually drop down here and sell below 3,300. On the other hand, if it gaps here and immediately reverses right back up to the top of the range, well, then 33.40 might be okay. Right? But let's wait and see how it unfolds in the first half hour, 20 minutes or so. And we get better information than trying to do something now. All right. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Yeah, I actually like this gap today because then all of our longs, they're only going to trigger if they're strong. And I put a ton of longs in the letters over the weekend, a couple of shorts too. We only have one open trade in the weekly options trader, Netflix put spread. And, down a little bit here, but, it's way under this pivot, 360. So we're in good shape there. Let's go right to gappers. Tesla. Hey, George, you're a drop down, please. And also a couple of you I see. Ganga. Just a stupid software company won't default it for us. Tesla was a 1, 2, 3, and we gave this as a weekly put spread, but it's gapping up over our entry, so we obviously aren't going to get the desired credit unless it comes in. So I'll keep an eye on that. Gappers here, RESI 1256. It's a big old gap. IIPR. This is a marijuana REIT. And we nailed the entry on this. On this breakout here, we sold an out of the money 70-60 put spread. And we should have got back in it here. But it's still acting bullish. I'll see if we can get some juice on that. Card 20, that's a nasty gap. Oh, wait, my bad. Wrong one. It's gapping up 26. That's actually a bullish 15-minute chart now. So it came down, went up, retest, gap up to resistance. This might be a 30-minute high candidate for a day trade. A little otter, I think had earnings. Nice daily pattern here. Broke out. Big wide range bar going sideways, little bottoming tail retest, price void. That's worth watching. MDT under 114. So that's way under here. That's not looking good. That might be a call spread candidate. Oh, and I have Apple up here. Let's go to those big ones. Yesterday, the SPOs were actually up 7 points. They were trading yesterday, even though the market was closed. And then last night, Apple comes out with a profit warning, and that's what took things down. Had a nice bounce off the low here, pre-market. Now it's coming in. For the bullish case on this 15-minute chart, it needs to hold right here. For the bearish case, 317. Yeah, it's gapping under a lot of support. So we'll keep an eye on that for a bear call credit spread. Walmart had earnings. It was down a little bit pre-market, and now it's back up. This looks like a fantastic put spread. And with earnings, the volatility should be higher. So this is one of my, so far, favorite setups for put spread. Rig had earnings. Greg mentioned we've been watching for this turn in oil, and it looks like Rig is not going to be on that list. Ganga, if it sets up in the first 30 minutes, then yes. What? We got a mess here, FLS. I see a print down at 44, but there's no volume. We'll come back to it. This had a big run. It's gapping up. It's uptrend, daily, weekly, monthly. We'll come back to it. PIR, I read they're going to file bankruptcy. And that monthly chart suggested it on PER. That's an ugly monthly. CAG was a bottoming pattern on the daily and weekly, but now with earnings, it's getting slapped way down here. WLK gap down, but no volume. We'll come back. WAB, 75 bucks. Bearish gap, call spread candidate. VMC, 144. Bearish gap. Bearish, maybe call spread. NXRT. So that's too extended, but we'll watch it on a pullback. LDOS 116.50, same extended, gelled. I can't tell where you're gapping, but it's not bad. Daily, weekly, monthly, all look higher. CHH, I can't tell where it's gapping, but if it opens flat to up a little bit, then 30-minute high. Gapping up to 33, so that's a gap breakout. We'll watch that on a pullback. Boy Scouts. Yeah, but you know what, George? Talking about craziness in the world, I don't even know if you can call them the Boy Scouts anymore. Didn't they get sued repeatedly for sex discrimination? You can't call the Boy Scouts the Boy Scouts. It's so crazy. CEQP, it's nothing going. 950. This what we call kind of a rising wedge. It's like a self-correcting uptrend. Still looks higher, but messy. Messy downtrend. True 101. Nice bullish dip. What a beautiful breakout here in January. And then you got this bottoming tail, and then you got a gap up. Too extended now. Site, nothing. I'm having a hard time with tier 1 setups here. Walmart is the best looking thing I've seen so far. 205, gapping down a little bit. Oh, I also have Disney as a call spread candidate. And you see it gapping down here. EXPD gapping down. All right, so this is a bearish gap. I'm not sure about the volume, but that's a short. That could be a directional too. Yeah, KR, sure. Like 30 bucks. Yeah, it's a gap breakout. So my little two-step process, a compelling gap with a price void, that's step 1. Step 2, put it in a 5-minute chart and see how it sets up. See, my Walmart here in the middle is setting up perfectly for put spread. Perfect. No volume. Fleur 1690. That's a nasty gap. It was trying to bottom on the weekly here. It was trying, and now it's not doing it with earnings. This thing's a mess. AEIS, we'll come back to you. AAP, 146. That's a big gap here. And that's driving up the competitor AZO, which I had as a short watch, but now with the gap up, you know, no harm. Maybe we turn AZO into a put spread. Leg up, making some noise upstairs. All right, leg Mason. I think I read it's Ben, Ben is thinking of buying leg Mason. And that's strange that they're both gapping up significantly. That's very strange. $39. Bullish gap over the red bar. Extended the weekly and monthly. HSBC, I read they're going to lay off some 30,000 employees. That's a nasty gap way down here. So there's the bin. I'm not going to mess with either one of those. Tesla we looked at. So Tesla put spread on a pullback. You see Apple here, upper right, cracking. 47.15. This is a put spread candidate. Nice gap up. Eyeballing it right into here, so it's gapping over last week's high. Apple, Walmart, we talked about. Space, that's been on a tear. Wow, wide range bar, and now it's gapping up. This will be a call spread candidate. I'm gonna put that in this little window. McGraw, you asked about IHI. I like it. IBB, we like also the bios over the highs. MMSI looks like a continuation. That looks great. MMSI. ZBH, this sector, the sector ETF, medical equipment, is breaking out, so that looks fantastic. NEOG looks good. Abbott looks good. Intel, I like this both for directional and a put spread over the high, but it's gapping down obviously with the Apple news. I liked NDAC over the high. It's gapping down, so that's gonna have to cancel. So I think all our opens are fine. Like I said, they're only going to trigger if they're strong. DHR I like, medical equipment. Again, I was trying to sell a put spread on that on Friday, but there was no juice. Microsoft, yep, green with a gap down, sure. ICE, so yeah, NDAC and ICE are down. HDS, that'd be a nice 1, 2, 3 if it closes there. Allstate, we actually entered on Friday. X looks horrible. That looks like a day trade short. Tesla, new high. Look, poor X to see. NUE is weak. Steel stock. AZO, I mentioned this could be a put spread now. Oh, Walmart, look at Walmart going. Like I said, that was my favorite. See that? Let's see if there's any juice. And just eyeballing it, kind of the pre-market lows there, the 116s. 22 by 38, so it's not enough juice, plus spreading. AZO 30-minute high looks fantastic. So the low here, 104.7. They're crazy, crazy spreads. Crazy, like 5 cents by $5. Look at space here. All right, I got Apple on the other computer, so I'm gonna put that there. Space, look, it's aggressive at 932. But let me take a look at out of the money calls for Friday. Wow, the 43s are 85 by 90. That is crazy juice. Let's do it. I'm checking earnings. Anybody earnings? Check, I didn't have TC open. Earnings 225, so we're good. Yeah, let's sell them. Let's sell them naked. Not for the faint of heart. 85 cents. All right, so now this is one, where do we want to put our stop? We go